Hi, hello, welcome back to another video. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name's Alexi, and on my channel, I like to teach you all the things that I do in my life that help me live a happier and healthier lifestyle. Today, we are doing a full day of eating, actually 2 full days of eating. So I'm gonna show you what I eat on a training day and a non-training day. Everything looks pretty much the same on a week-by-week basis. I am currently eating in a calorie surplus. So what that means is I'm trying to eat more calories than I actually need in order to maintain my physique. I am focusing on adding some weight, watching the scale go up, trying to focus on building and putting on some good quality lean mass. If I was eating in a calorie deficit, or when I was in a calorie deficit, or even maintaining, I was eating the same foods for the most part. There is some variance here and there, but I eat the same foods. It's just different amounts of those foods. So if I was in a deficit, if I wanted to lose a little bit of body fat or a little bit of weight or cut down and get that leaner appearance, then I'm eating in a deficit. If I just want to stay exactly where I'm at, I'm just working on maintaining the physique that I have, the strength that I have, the goals that I have, etc., then I'm just eating at your baseline, whatever you need to maintain, which is what I was currently doing. And now I've decided to increase my calories with the intention to increase my lean mass or my muscle on my body. I have gained about 5 pounds now since increasing my calories, but that's a good 5 pounds, and as long as it's happening slowly on the scale, that's what I'm looking for. Please remember that everything I say is individualized. This is my individualized nutrition, my diet. This is not something that you should follow exactly as I'm showing you, but it's a way to teach you and show you ways to get your food in, ideas, things to try. It's not a, here, try this, this will work for you. It might not work for you. So always remember that when you're watching my videos, everything is very individualized to you, the individual. There is no one size fits all for any of this. So I always start my day off with a cup of coffee. It is my morning routine and my ritual. I don't care about what I put in my coffee. I'm not one to put like heaping tablespoons of sugar in my coffee. I just do a little bit of creamer. I use an almond milk creamer. You don't have to use an almond milk creamer. I think you should use whatever creamer you want, whatever you enjoy, in whatever way you enjoy to have your coffee. I try to make sure that I of course have my water. My rule always is when I go for the second cup of coffee, to drink water before I have the second cup of coffee, so it can be a good way to sneak in a little bit of water and hydration first thing in the morning instead of just going straight to your coffee and only drinking coffee. Since this was a non-training day, I have an early client, so I had a protein shake and a banana first thing in the morning. And the reason why I chose this is because it's so quick and easy and I don't even have to think about it. I'm not that much of a morning person. I don't really like having to do things in the morning. When it's an early morning and I gotta grab a go, I'm looking for straight up convenience. I just put 2 scoops of protein powder in some almond milk, and then I grabbed a banana and I ran out the door. This was perfect because I can drink it or eat it while I'm driving or consume it very quickly. It's very easy to consume. It's very quick to consume. I'm always looking for convenience and go-to and like the no excuses, no barriers kind of thing, because if you can figure out how to minimize that, then it really helps you out in being able to stay consistent every single day when life gets crazy hectic and busy. Breakfast every morning is exactly the same for me. It really does not change. This day actually the eggs were not my first meal, they were actually my second meal. I eat an English muffin and eggs every single morning. Sometimes the eggs in the English muffin will have their variants to it, but it's always eggs and it's always an English muffin or like toast or a bagel or something. I always do a little bit of butter on my English muffin. A little bit of butter is not gonna hurt you. It's eating these foods in excess on a day by day, week by week, month, year kind of basis that's going to end up harming you or not being good for you. I'm very big on not using healthy or unhealthy terms or good or bad terms with food because that looks different for everyone. We're just looking for the right foods to fuel our body right now, physically and mentally, because I don't care what anyone says. Mentally and how we feel about our food and enjoying our food is a process and part of eating. If I don't enjoy my food, I'm not gonna eat it, and I'm not gonna stay consistent with it, and I'm likely to maybe grab for something else if I'm not actually eating what I want. Sometimes I add cheese to my eggs. Again, find what works for you, do what you like, don't eat things in excess. Things like cheese or sugar or butter, yeah, all of those things can be bad for you in excess. I believe that anything in excess could potentially not be good for you. We're looking for balance here, and we're looking for finding things that are individual to you. So I always have my egg and I always have my English muffin, and that's just the way that it goes. I usually take my fish oil and my creatine in the morning when I'm eating my breakfast, and I always force myself to have that water here. Daniel makes these for me every morning. I think he does 1 to 2 whole eggs and then the rest egg whites. Next, I ate Noosa, I think is how you say it, yogurt. And this is a very high fat yogurt, so I try to be mindful, of course, about what I'm eating in the day, just to make sure that I'm not eating like all high fat foods in the day or all of my high carb foods in the day. I try to, of course, make sure that there's balance here too. And this is something that I've just gotten good at by doing and eyeballing on my own, because I've tracked my macros, or have tracked my macros for so long. I don't track my food now. Occasionally I will, every so often on like a random day, just to see where my calories are at, or to kind of check in with myself, but I do not do this on a daily basis. But because I have in the past, it's very easy for me to do a lot of things in my head. So I have this Noosa yogurt, and typically when I have the yogurt, I like to have a little bit of fruit with it, and then I like a little bit of crunch. I gotta have my crunch factor. It's personally just how I feel satiated in some of my meals. I added a little bit of granola and a little bit of fruit, and that was just my next meal after breakfast. Again, I just kind of eat according to how I feel, but it does happen every few hours that I'm hungry and ready to go. Again, this is just something that I've fallen into over years of doing this and focusing on nutrition and meals and learning how to fuel my body properly. So it can be a little overwhelming in the beginning, but this is what it just naturally looks like for me on a day-to-day basis. I don't really try hard for my diet to look this way anymore. I used to. Since it was a non-training day, I wanted to make sure that I had a full meal before I went to work that day. Typically I have my full meal after my workout on my training days, but I still get at least 2 full chicken and rice kind of meals in the day. So I had this as my 3rd meal of the day. It was chicken with some rice and some asparagus, and this was my meal before I went to work that day. So this got me through until that last meal of the day that I have before I go to bed. And I had one of those polar sparkling waters with this. I typically have like 1 to 2 of these a day. It's just flavored bubbly water. So there's essentially nothing in terms of calories or sugars or anything like that in these drinks. Before I went to work too, on my Tuesdays and Thursdays on my non-training days, it's usually when I drink my apple cider vinegar, because I have my greens powder on my training days, and sometimes I just don't, it's just what I do. So I had some apple cider vinegar before I left. I just like the way it tastes now. I didn't used to in the beginning. It gives me a little bit of energy, makes my breath nice and fresh. It helps with my stomach and my gut and my digestion and feeling bloated and all of that. And I do think that it's a big thing that helps with my skin. Now that I'm saying that, I should probably drink more, because my skin has been like a little like lately, but I have been eating a lot more sweets, and that always makes, you know, some things pop out on my face. When I got home that night, I had a little bit of chips and guac. We usually have guac most of the time, sometimes have guac in the fridge. Sometimes while we're putting together like our nightly meals and like waiting for everything to warm up, we'll snack on some chips and guac a little bit. So have some chips and guac before dinner. I ate the same thing again, chicken, rice, and this time broccoli, and the chicken was like a different seasoning. I put a little bit of cheese on it here because I like cheese, and sometimes it's just how I like pizzazz it up a little bit, or I added a little bit of sriracha too. So sometimes we add like sauces and stuff like that just to make the food a little bit more interesting, or like give it a different flavor than what we're eating on a day-to-day basis. And then lastly, this was actually a big eating day for a non-training day, but I just eat and listen according to my body and how I feel. Sometimes I'm actually hungrier after a training day because of that training day. Sometimes I'm hungrier on a training day depending on how my training day went. I just eat according to how my body feels, which again is something that took me a while to do and learn and navigate, and I'm still figuring it out. That's just how I eat. So I finished up my night with some Oreos and peanut butter. So this is one of those things that in a surplus makes a lot easier to have these sweets and just like calorie dense foods. I've been eating a lot of stuff like that recently. I usually like to have something sweet at the end of the night after my dinner. We typically have little fun size candy things that I can eat one or two and I'm satisfied. I just want to taste something sweet. This night I had the 2 full Oreos with the peanut butter. I just wanted a good nightcap. The next day, my training day, started out the day the same exact way with my coffee, and this time I actually had my eggs and my English muffin as my first meal. This time I switched my English muffin up a little bit by adding some avocado. So again, the same thing, but kind of switching it up a little bit. Sometimes I'll even have an English muffin with peanut butter. My next meal, which is my pre-workout meal, and also like a later meal in the day, is my super shake. If you don't know what the super shake is, check out the card above. That's where I go a little bit more into depth about it and how to make it yourself. So it's basically just protein powder. I put fruit in there, you can put peanut butter in there. I always put oats in there, almond milk, my greens powder, a bunch of ingredients thrown into a blender, blended up, and made really easy to drink. And again, grab and go, easy, convenience. You know how I roll. I like the super shake because it digests really well and easily in my stomach and fuels me for my workout, which is perfect. So I usually drink half of it as my pre-workout, and then I drink the last half of it when I'm training in the rest of the night, because I'll get hungry sometimes if I'm training my clients and I need to be able to eat and get my calories in while I'm working. Usually it's like my last client of the night, I'm like drinking my shake to get some calories in to tide me over until I get home to eat my last meal of the night. So super shake is 2 meals of the day. I also sometimes like to have sour strips before my workout. Again, because I'm in a surplus right now, there's a lot more leniency for me to have like these extra sweets and candies and extra calories here and there. And it's not like I'm eating a lot. I ate two strips. It's not good if I eat the whole bag or eat half of the bag every single day before I go train, but if I have 2 strips, it's not gonna kill me, and it's fun, and I'm like, ooh, this is sour. It's like a ritualistic thing. So I also think it becomes more of that. This is my ritual to eat some sour strips before I lift. Find what works for you. Don't come at me for eating things like Oreos and peanut butter and sour strips, because that's the fun stuff and that's what makes food fun. We just need to learn how to not overdo it and how to have balance in our life, and to know when it's appropriate to eat those things and when it's not appropriate to eat those things. The meal that I made at home was going to be my post-workout meals. I always like to make sure I have my chicken and my rice and my veggies post-workout. I'm always very hungry and I need that substance before I even start my work sessions for the evening. Same thing as I ate in my non-training day yesterday that you just saw. Same chicken, same rice, same veggies, just got a little bit of cauliflower and broccoli and asparagus as well. So that I ate post-workout. I always have that meal post-workout. And then when we got home and it was time for dinner, guess what? I ate the same thing again, chicken and broccoli cauliflower with some rice. The only thing is we pizzazzed it up this time with some, it's like vegan veggie nuggets or something like that. I don't know. They're just these nuggets and they taste good, and we throw them in the air fryer and they're frozen. They're convenient. Again, I'm big on my crunch factor. The crunch for me always makes me feel sometimes more satiated in my meals, or sometimes I'm craving that. So I like the nuggets because they give me that like crispy, crunchy, satiating crunch that I like to have in my meals, and it's like a nugget. Like, who doesn't want a chicken nugget? It's delicious. So we add a little bit of those to our meals, and I actually did not have a sweet this night, and I wasn't really wanting a sweet. That was also a long day, and I was tired, and I was ready to get into bed, so it just wasn't a sweet kind of day. That is how I maintain that balance in my life. Now you know a lot about me and my food and my diet and what my day-to-day kind of looks like. The weekends can look a little bit different. I do indulge on the weekend. Usually there's a going out kind of meal or an extravagant meal in the kitchen kind of thing. Like last weekend we had burgers twice because we had a HelloFresh meal and it was burgers, so we ate burgers on Saturday and Sunday. But again, it's not like this crazy indulgence, and we're making it at home. So I always think sometimes when you want to indulge in those things, it's better to make it at home because it usually does end up being a little bit better for you. Again, we're not talking about good or bad or healthy or not healthy. We're looking for things that are better, things that are pushing you more in the direction that you possibly want to be in. So it's still okay to go out, indulge, eat the bad foods and the unhealthy foods. I believe in honoring my body in terms of food and nourishing it, and the way of prioritizing what I'm eating in terms of vitamins and minerals and nutrients and what is going to give me that fuel. But I also honor my body in the way of sometimes my body wants chocolate and ice cream and sweets, and I also choose to honor my body in that way and eat those foods, because if I don't, I go down the spiral and I'm restrict, and you get stuck in the restrict binge cycle, and it's not good to place restriction on food like that, in my opinion. And this is getting very long-winded about my thoughts about food and nutrition and diet, and I feel very passionately about it, clearly, as you can tell. So if you want a rambling video like that, please let me know, because we can make that a separate video for another time. But this is what my full day of eating looks like on a training day and a non-training day. Let me know what you think about my diet. I'm actually pretty curious. I want to know if you enjoyed this video, so if you did, please hit the thumbs up button. That's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for watching my full day of eating, and until next time, I'll see you next week. Okay, bye.